So I'm here with Michael Wood, former Baltimore police officer who is now blowing the whistle on the policing culture in America. He has some ideas on how to change the policing culture. Look at our other videos for those ideas. Those are good ideas. He doesn't like my one idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
But right now, now you're voting for Hillary?
No. Yeah, I have a running joke like on Twitter that I get a lot of followers, right? And then so when it gets too high, then I'll be like, okay, I'm getting too many Twitter followers, so I'm going to talk about gun control, or I'm going to talk about gay rights, or I'm going to talk about anti-Hillary stuff and talk about those kind of things, that her policies and things are super, and I'll drop by a good couple hundred.
Oh, really?
And then, once it gets too high again, like, I guess we have to start talking about gun control, and then on Rogan, all gun control talk. So who knows how bad.
So you talked all about. So you think gun control is a good thing in America now?
Well, everybody thinks gun control is a good thing.
The only thing you could the only thing to stop a bad guy, crazy bipolar guy who hates himself for being gay with a gun is a good guy who hates himself with a what? I don't know how it works. What is it? What do you say?
They like to say the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, and obviously that's
bullshit.
It's
because
patently false. I mean, we can see the numbers and we know that's not true. And a gun is an offensive weapon. So you're not actually trying to protect yourself. If you're trying to protect yourself, you'd be fighting to wear a bullet-resistant vest. That's a defensive weapon. So what you actually want to do, and one reason why I think that the answer of that is wrong is because what you're then saying is society's expectation is that we can have everybody have guns, and it's the responsibility of people like me to kill them before they kill me or you, and that's a really illogical position to have. You're requiring me to kill somebody because you have inadequately distributed what we know is an object that dramatically increases death.
So I saw this on Facebook today. Someone said they were upset that the first sentence of their post was, restricting gun ownership will not solve this problem. And the last line of their post was, why was that guy allowed to buy a gun in the first place if he was already being investigated? But so you're lamenting that gun laws won't fix it, and then you're like, what the fuck? Why don't we have gun law? It's like, so do you find those people to be schizophrenic, or do you find them just to not understand the situation?
I think
you're a cop, so you would know. I mean, most cops I know are anti-gun.
Well, cops of all people should be anti-gun, right? Because when people even want to say that the gun is against tyranny, that means killing cops and soldiers.
Correct.
So I don't know why cops aren't really against guns, because when you sell armor-piercing rounds, it's to kill cops.
Yes.
It's not to kill anyone else other than cops or our young teenage soldiers who you promised the American dream by joining that military.
So what do cops think about the NRA when they support things like cop killer bullets?
They don't evaluate it. They live in a bubble. They want the cop killer bullet too. So remember, it isn't that we should rethink the situation and maybe put the brakes on things. It's then I just went, so that with LA, which kicked it off, is that the cops' answer in LA wasn't, okay, let's make sure that people can't get these weapons and this body armor. The answer was, we need bigger body armor and bigger weapons.
Jeez, you're kidding.
So it's a completely well, that's what started our militarization was North Hollywood shootout.
That's what in '96?
Yeah, that's what started it. So
there was a bank that was held up. It was on television live, and it happened. I happened to be watching it. I was up early that day, 10 in the morning, and for a comedian, that's early. And so they had all this body armor on, and they were robbing banks, and they got caught at this one, right? And it turns out, so they all eventually ended up getting killed, but the bullets were bouncing off them, and it was really hard to kill them. They all did get finally killed. But man, it was hard. So that was the thing that made cops even get more militarized?
Yeah, that's when you start to see. So with the drug war and with things like that, they're in close within a decade. So you can't
You're right.
you can't narrow it down
Kinda
to
happening
one
at the same
individual
time.
thing. But you saw that in the drug war where you increased SWAT raids. So now you need the military equipment to do these dangerous SWAT raids, and the military has surplus because we treat our foreign policies the exact same as our domestic policy. We want to have collateral damage and create new terrorists here, just as we want to have collateral damage and create new terrorists over east or in the Mideast. So it's the exact same fallacious logic, and so that's why we have to fight this denial and this anti-intellectualism that half of America thinks that what I say is preposterousness. And so if you're at the educational or intellectual level where you think what I'm saying is preposterous, I struggle on how we get out of that ignorance.
So you're saying, what would be your ideal gun control legislation?
So fundamentally, the first thing I want to do is hit the brakes. I don't want to. We have to stop manufacturing guns. So you want to say that the country is saturated. Well, that's fine. Yeah, we do have a saturation problem. So let's not keep adding to our saturation problem. That's the logical fallacy of a false investment. So we have to at least stop making them. So fuck those companies. Everybody's going to have to machine something else. We have to stop making them and stop making the problem worse. And then ideally from then on, everybody can have as many shotguns as they want, as far as I'm concerned. You can have as many bolt-action rifles as you want. It's just you can't have semi-automatic weapons and you can't have easily concealable weapons. The handgun is vastly worse of an issue than an AR-15. They are right about that because the vast majority of the 30,000 gun homicides a year come from at the hands of handguns that are easily concealed, and cops are beating the shit out of people and they're scared because they think everybody has this easily concealable gun as well. So you have to get that thing out first, and any semi-automatic, whether it is an AR-15 or a hunting rifle of the same caliber, they literally do the same damage, just as a matter of how easy it is to control the weapon and whether you can add attachments or not. So all semis have to go. Maybe revolvers. Somebody can put up an argument for that.
So you would be okay with people owning their own personal handgun and a personal rifle?
I don't want a handgun. What I want is just personal handgun rifle. They can be bolt action. You can have as many as you want.
So no handguns?
Yeah, I don't want any handguns.
Okay.
Because that's your big killer. That's what kills people. Handguns is what kills people. So when the pro-gun people make the argument that it's not AR-15s that kill people, they're right. It's not AR-15s that kill people, that people use to kill other human beings on the regular. It's what they use to kill people in masses and with extremely low skill level. And we get caught up in automatic weapons, and they say, oh, well, the AR-15 is different from the N16 because it doesn't have burst or automatic. But we don't use burst or automatic for anything other than suppression fire. Any combat-trained individual is going to tell you that you fire your M16 on semi-auto too, because the point of an M16 is how accurate it is and its length of shot. So you sit there and you go, boom, boom.
Oh, really?
As well. So if you shoot a weapon on automatic, it's going to climb on you. So somebody that's not well trained, if they have an automatic, they're actually really not going to shoot anybody because the weapon's going to go like this on them.
Oh.
So
your gun legislation would say we no longer no handguns, but they'd have to be non-automatic.
Yes, maybe somebody could make we can still have revolvers argument. I maybe I'll give there to get rid of the semi-automatic handguns.
What about they have those things where the gun only works if you put your own hand on it? What are those called, smart guns?
Sure, I think something like cops should have that, and cops fight that, which is baffling to me.
Baffling.
But what that then does is it eliminates the excuse. So what we do now is one of the ways that a lot of violence on the police end is conducted is because they say he was reaching for my gun. Mm-hmm. Well, if that's no longer a threat, then you don't have that easy out.
Well, why wouldn't that be a threat?
If you have the gun that only you can shoot.
You're saying so. Oh, right.
Because that's the go-to. The go-to is he's going for my gun. He's going for my gun. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. He's going for my gun. That's the go-to. So if you're also going to take away your go-to by having that weapon.
Okay. So if only you can fire your gun, that's not a defense for shooting the guy.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you get a lot of pushback on this, do you?
It
really?
goes without saying.
So you want to stop manufacturing of guns in America, and you're getting a little bit of pushback from the gun manufacturers on this, are you?
No gun manufacturers yet. You get it from the actual people that want to own 17 more guns so their dick feels a little bigger.
I'll tell you this about guns control and the Second Amendment. The people who say that the Second Amendment ensures their right to own a gun are wrong, 100,000 fucking percent. That's not what it says. That's not what the Second Amendment means. It means well-regulated militia. Everybody leaves that part out. In fact, Thomas Jefferson wrote extensively about what that meant. And it doesn't mean what you think it means if you think it means you can own a gun. It means that we can have a fucking National Guard. That's what that's about. Okay. Am I wrong about any of that?
I mean, that is close to my belief. I think that it's so vaguely worded that it is up for being misconstrued, which is why I say I don't give a fuck about what the Second Amendment says. It's 2016. The Constitution is an amendable document. Mm-hmm. We need to rethink our policy in light of the new information that we have because we are an evolving species that can take information and come up with better ideas. So fundamentally, what were the revolutionaries doing? In America, when they were forming that Constitution, they were the ones saying, hey, we need a new thing in light of new information to break away from the British oligarchy. Mm-hmm. So we now know that we have an oligarchy in practice, and we have an oppressive government that is surveilling us and making Edward Snowden out to be the enemy, and people like me are called a whistleblower and not protected or not praised in any way for that. So this is what we're at. We have to take that document and say, look, this is American to amend this. Those founders were smart in the fact that they made for us to be able to amend this because we all agree in gun control to a certain level. We don't think that somebody should be able to get an automatic squad weapon of a 50 cal and go around their house. We don't think people should have nukes. We don't think people should have RPGs. So we all agree that we have to draw a line. Now, the evidence just says we have to draw this line at a much different place.
So has Loretta Lynch reached out to you?
Nobody reaches out to me. I think you
James
know that.
Comey. How about President Obama? So Jill Stein has reached out. So Barack Obama has Joe Biden. Nobody in power has reached out to you. No police chiefs.
Here's what you should understand is I also reached out to the DOJ, who is doing an active investigation of corruption in the police department of Baltimore. And they have a whistleblower that they're not talking to, who was a supervisor.
So this is going to be a good investigation.
Oh, you know it. They're looking for the truth.
Yeah, the DOJ, by the way, stands for the Department of Joints, I think. Anyway, so no, that's not going to be a good investigation. So you're saying there's no hope?
There's hope. It's just that we're going to have to push it as citizens that are tired of being oppressed or tired of seeing our country treat human beings like they're less than.
Okay. Michael, good luck to you. I hope you become police chief somewhere.
I think it's inevitable as long as we go this path. It's
I
just
will
how long does it freaking take?
I can see it happen right here in Pasadena.
Well, everybody from Oakland and San Francisco should be actively doing that right now if they give a damn. And if you, I don't care. I'll go anywhere because I have to prove this model for other agencies and other citizens to have the courage to do it.
Okay, his model, by the way, tell people what your model is again.
It's civilian control. I'm a civilian-led police reformer. I think fundamentally the only way to create a system that is perpetually good is to have the civilians actually enforce it. We must say, what do you want your police to do? Because throughout the history of this country, the police have always told you what they're going to do.
Wow, that's heavy duty. Michael Wood, ladies and gentlemen. Michael, thanks for being my guest.
Thanks.
Did you have a good time? Was it everything you hoped for?
Even more than I could have ever imagined.
All right. He's going out to get his PhD. He's one of those smarty pants guys. I got my BA, and I'm very proud of it. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks for being my guest. That's it.
Yeah, just make it awkward. It's always better that way.
It's
weird and right.
All right, fantastic.